Hi, everyone, and welcome to Divine Resolution Tarot. This reading is intended for the sign of Taurus. If you are watching for a Taurus, you might need to reverse roles because it'll probably feel like I'm speaking to you about your Taurus. So I'm pulling cards to get some love messages for you. This reading should resonate whenever you find it. Ooh, bottom of your deck is the Empress in reverse. So you guys are feeling a little bit out of sorts because I actually read Empress as a Taurian energy. It looks like maybe you've tried to do something new after leaving someone who is really selfish. Okay, so it looks like perhaps things didn't go the way you wanted previously with someone else. And then there's an energy here of you like ignoring that person. So I don't know if you've completely moved on from that person and blocked them, or if there's just a huge distance between the two of you and you've decided to do something else. But either way, it looks like you've moved on to something new. This person could be doing something else as well. And so that could be part of why your Empress is in the reverse, because there's an energy here feeling like there's not really anything you could do to fix this previous situation. So it's possible that whoever this King of Wands in the reverse represents for you, they could be not showing interest in you, or they could be dealing with someone new as well. It looks like the both of you are kind of at a stalemate energy where you can't really make it work. So I feel like that person is doing something different. You're doing something different, but they're still coming up in your past energy to show me kind of what's going on with you. Now, I do see that it looks like there's something new that you're working on, but I feel like that might not be working the way that you want it to. So, yeah, let's take a look at that because you got the Eight of Swords coming out, Three of Swords and Three of Cups in the reverse. So it almost makes me feel like whoever this newer energy is that you're dealing with, you're having a spot of trouble, probably because there's still this old person coming up in your energy. So maybe you're dealing with an Aries, even though that King of Wands came out, because their reading was very similar. They had moved on and they were dealing with someone, but they were still thinking a lot about their past person. For you, though, I feel like this is different. It's almost like rather than you being attracted to this past person, there's more kind of this apprehension that your new situation is going to happen like your last one. Okay. So I'm not getting like a big energy of you wanting to reconcile with your ex, but it's just more being very like cautious about your new situation or apprehensive. Perhaps you're seeing things about this new person that are triggering to you because there's a lot of healing that I feel like still needs to kind of happen. And what I'll say about that is like oftentimes you can get over a person, but it takes time to get over the way that person treated you, right? So like, for example, maybe you don't want to reconcile with your previous person, but that person always treated you like you were such a burden that when you move into your new relationship, you still are kind of carrying that like idea about yourself of being, unfunny or someone that is a pain in the butt, right? And so you're actually taking that old paradigm that previous person kind of forced on you with their behavior, their attitude. And even if you don't mean to, it's like now you may feel like you're walking on eggshells around your new partner, where it's like, oh, I don't want to make a stupid joke because I'm not really that funny. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. I'm not seeing something here where it's like, oh my gosh, I really want this old person back. It's more like, how do I not bring kind of all of this trauma or the way that this person treated me and how it's affected how I view myself? How do I not bring that into this new situation because I actually like this new person, right? So kind of some apprehension around that. Let's clarify your Ace of Swords in the reverse. So it feels like to me, perhaps this new connection, you're not really sure where it's going. You might not be sure how to bring that up to this person is kind of what I'm seeing here. There's an energy of feeling like no matter what happens, it's not going to work out. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. It's almost like you don't want to speak your truth because you feel like you're just going to speed up the ending of this connection. And I feel like that's not something that you want, obviously. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, there's an energy. I don't know what's happened between the two of you, but it's this energy of feeling like no matter what you do, it's going to end anyway. And it's like you're already grieving the loss of something that it hasn't even taken place yet. So I'm not sure why you guys are in this energy, because it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of like action that has happened that should be making you feel this way. A lot of this is in your head, it's in your mind because it's swords, right? Or it's in your emotions because it's cups. But you don't have any kind of wands that have me feeling like there's been some kind of action that should have you just already giving up on this. So I really would caution you guys about bringing those old paradigms from your last relationship into whatever you're trying to build now. Because with this particular person, Eight of Swords again, oh my goodness, it's like just so much anxiety around where this is going, feeling like things aren't moving maybe as fast as you want or in a way that you want, like they're not moving towards a commitment. And so you could be already thinking like, okay, if we're not a thing, then they don't want me. Or if they're not like publicly claiming me, then we're not going anywhere. And so there's like already this element of loss or disappointment based on what you've kind of assumed that the situation will become. Let's take a look at this Three of Cups reverse, Lovers reverse. Some of you have a really like deep fear of being cheated on. Perhaps in the past you were cheated on, like whoever that past partner was. And so because the relationship isn't moving the way that would make you feel safe, you're comparing it very much to what you've been in before and feeling like, okay, this has to be what this is. This person is not committing to me, or they're not moving the way that I expect them to. So it's got to be that they have other options, or there's other people in their lives. And that's why they're not like locking it in with me. And so there's just this energy of like already having kind of accepted defeat, or being like, I'm just going to roll with this until it falls apart because I know it will. So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. So kind of a hard energy for you guys, I feel like, because it's knocking you guys out of alignment. I feel like this was something you were really excited about at one time, and now it's almost like causing you anxiety. As far as your opportunity, you have a High Priestess. So, I think you should try to figure out like how much of what you're feeling is your intuition versus conditioning from your past partner, right? Because like sometimes if we've had like a really bad experience, for example, say you got mugged when you were walking down the street at night, you would probably have that feeling of apprehension about, going somewhere at night by yourself versus someone who's never had that experience. They wouldn't think twice about it, right? So how much of this do you think is like your intuition trying to warn you versus just you being a product of kind of what you've experienced in the past, right? You have an opportunity to get to the bottom of that. I also feel like if you need clarity with this Knight of Pentacles clarifying this, you could talk to this person, right? Maybe you're a little bit nervous to bring this to them because it doesn't really seem like they've done anything. And so you might be like, okay, if I bring this up, I'm going to seem like I'm overreacting, or I'm going to seem like I'm reading into things that aren't there. But I feel like if you were to talk to this person about the way that you're feeling and just be honest, like, hey, it's not necessarily anything you're doing, but it kind of is just because I've seen something similar and this is how it went. And so I'm feeling a bit triggered. I feel like this person would actually take the time to reassure you of like why they're moving the way they're moving, or maybe if you feel like they're moving slow to solidify this, they would be able to give you some kind of like answer. I don't think this is somebody that would get mad about that. This really feels more like a you thing, Taurus, like you're just very in your head about this. So I don't think it would be a bad thing to look for reassurance within this connection from the person that it feels like you're stressing about. Now, as far as your Two of Pentacles in reverse, that's your obstacle. So if you're comparing everything this person does kind of to the last person, and you're thinking like, well, when my last person did this, it meant that they were doing, whatever, they were cheating. Now this person is doing that, so that must be what it is. This is hard, but you actually have to look at this with like a totally fresh pair of eyes, because I feel like the person you're dealing with now is not the kind of person that you were dealing with in the past. They're actually coming out as the Hermit. So I can see why this is triggering to you, because sometimes the King of Wands in the reverse and the Hermit seem to have similar traits. And what I'll say about that is like King of Wands in the reverse, they come off as not wanting like to be around someone. They always need space. They seem very selfish. They're very like always thinking about themselves, kind of keeping their thoughts to themselves and making moves that benefit themselves, right? And so they do kind of embody that hermit energy in a lot of ways, because they come off as somebody who is not really in a place to integrate someone into their life, because they're still so autonomous and so self-absorbed, right? However, the hermit is actually what's showing me where the problem is with this person. This person has similar tendencies of needing space, or perhaps not always conveying their thoughts to you, or being very autonomous from you. But I'll reassure you in the sense that it's coming from a different place, right? So I can totally see why this would be triggering to you, because if you came from a King of Wands in reverse, somebody who is like super me, I, all alone, this is my show, you're just a guest, right? This person exuding this hermit energy would be scary to you, because they pull away, or they get quiet, or they don't always explain to you like what their next move is going to be, or why they're doing what they're doing. And so I can see where the similarities are for you and why that would be so triggering. But what I'll say about that is this person's behavior is coming from a totally different place than your last person. So yes, the signs are there that all these things are happening, but what I'm feeling from this is that that's not really the case. It's that this person is more introspective. Like, this is kind of the healthier version of what you dealt with in the past. So, if you had a partner that pulled away in the past because they were throwing a fit and they were being manipulative, if this person gets quiet, immediately you might start thinking like, oh, here we go, I know what this is. In reality, maybe they're just taking a step back because they're thinking or meditating, or they like their space and their time to themselves. It's not because they're trying to like control the narrative or to like guilt trip you or make you do anything. This really is somebody who just needs their space, right? And so again, with your opportunity, you could always go back and just be like, hey, my past partner, I'm not trying to like compare you, but I was just in this long dragged out thing. And when they did this, it was because of this, and it made me feel this, and it caused this. And, you have a similar communication style, or I noticed that you pull away and it kind of activates my insecurity because of what I'm used to. But I realized that might not be who you are, right? That might not be like your reason for pulling away. Do you think you could give me some clarity around that, right? So I don't think that this can't be fixed, but I do totally understand now, like, why this person would trigger you. But I just want you to know that it's actually coming from a different place. Okay. It's coming from like a place of maturity. They really are like a more healthy, kind of autonomous person that just really is a whole person, and they don't need anyone to be or do anything to like validate them. And so they have a tendency to be kind of a loner, right? Whereas with that King of Wands in the reverse, that's somebody who's very needy, very selfish, very hot and cold, plays a bunch of games, brings you in, pushes you away. And so I can see why, right? Like, say you're spending time with this hermit person and then you don't hear from him for a few days. You're like, oh my God, this is happening again. This is that King of Wands in the reverse energy. No, it's just this person recharging their batteries. Okay. So hopefully that'll reassure you guys and make you feel a little bit better. Something to consider, 10 of Cups in the reverse, the Fool. Yeah. So are you really ready to partner with someone at this time? And I'm not saying like, oh, you guys are so messed up, you can't be with anyone. That's not what I'm saying at all. But this situation, like, you're going to have to go into this, like I said, with a totally fresh pair of eyes. You're not going to be able to compare this person to your previous person, not only because they're two totally different people, but also because I feel like you don't have enough information about this new person. So a lot of the behavior that you may see from them, as far as like pulling away or getting quiet, it's not going to do anything to help you. Like, it's just going to trigger you if you start comparing and contrasting. So yeah, I feel like this person really could be what you want, but you're going to have to do some work on yourself to be ready to receive something new, right? Because there's still kind of that old paradigm with the ex that I can see is really affecting the way that you feel about this connection. And so maybe you need to take a step back, right? And just spend some time with yourself. Perhaps that's why you've manifested someone who is in this hermit energy, because there needs to be more time for you, right? And if you had a partner that was like trying to smother you or super in your space, you wouldn't have that time to heal, okay? So maybe consider like what you want. And are you, and I don't want to trigger any of you, but are you pretending like you're more okay than you actually are with this 10 of Cups Fool energy? Like sometimes this can talk about pretending like everything's fine because you feel like you should be over something by now, right? And so it's just like, I need to move on. I'm okay. I don't give, I don't care about that old person. Like, are you really okay? And I'm not saying it to make you guys feel bad, but I just care about you. And it's okay not to be okay sometimes. It's okay to have like residual triggers or trauma from like a crappy relationship, right? So it might be time for you to kind of, even if you can't admit that to like anybody else, talk to yourself about it. Like, hey, am I good? Like what is the residual here? What do I need to get rid of? What do I need to um get some more like self-love, self-care, healing energy into, have I allowed this past person to damage me in a way that I'm not willing to acknowledge, and now it's affecting, future relationships. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being self-aware and realizing like, hey, you know what, I am still kind of feeling something about this previous situation. I don't know that I'm 100 right now, right? So I do think this new person is a good fit for you. I just think that it's very triggering, and I think that that's being brought into your life so that you can be aware of the fact that there's still things that you need to deal with. There's still things that you're not quite over, regardless of how much you pretend like you're fine or you tell people that you're okay. That's probably why you've manifested someone into your life who's activating some of this very triggering, previous, whatever that perhaps you haven't found a way to deal with or to accept or to release, right? All right, guys, I'm going to take this over to the extended reading. I'm going to see what's up with this new person. I don't care about the old person because I feel like that person is just kind of a traumatic abuser, and we don't really need to look into their past based on what I've seen from this. But I'm going to take a look at the new person and hopefully give you guys some more reassurance as to how they operate and what they have going on. So I'll put the preview to that at the end of the video. This month, extendeds are $4. So feel free to click the link and follow me over there. I will speak to all of you again soon. Bye. Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me for your extended reading. So you guys, you got Judgment in the reverse. You got a King of Swords reverse and a King of Wands reverse for everything that's going on. Let's take a look. Your person, their feelings and actions are Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. And the reason for this is the King of Swords in the reverse. So let's start to break this down, because I want to, show you guys kind of what is being created from what is going on in your life right now. So this person, you could feel as though they're starting to pull back, right? They're starting to pull away. And it's actually being clarified by the Five of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Ace of Wands. So this new person is looking at you and feeling as though you have one foot out the door. I don't know that that's something that you've expressed to them, but they're picking up on this energetically because they're feeling you have that kind of knee-jerk reaction based on what you're seeing from them, where you're starting to become very, like anxious about the connection. And so maybe you are shutting down. And in response to that, this person is starting to feel like there's not much left between the two of you. Because they're noticing a change in you, actually. This person is feeling like, maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I should date other people. Maybe Taurus is not as interested in me as I thought they were because they've changed. They're not responding as quickly. They're not really putting in the work as they used to. Maybe you're being more flippant with this person, or you're kind of like making, I don't want to say making jokes, but it's almost like maybe you're saying things like, oh yeah, because when we never talk again, or yeah, when that day comes that you block me, right? Like there's something that's almost like you're kind of foretelling or foreshadowing. And I feel like you're saying those things because you want reassurance, but this person is viewing it as you trying to convey the message that you are no longer interested, right?